Hi, Internet. Kim here.
Chris here, and this is Rambling Tea Time.
Hi, Internet. How you doing?
I think they're doing good. I let them respond. I'm doing awesome, by the way. How are you doing, Kim?
I'm doing great.
Okay.
Oh, that makes me sound really rude. If I don't ask you how you're doing, I ask the Internet, and then you ask me,
Doesn't.
and no one ever asks you.
You're overthinking this, okay? You're just chill. I'm doing fine. I was a little ill earlier this week, but I'm doing fine.
Hmm.
So, what you've been up the last week? I myself have. This is the thing I really want to introduce you to. I don't know if it's been happening to anyone, but my YouTube recommendations have been full of nothing but Spider-Man, the Japanese Spider-Man from the 1970s show. Just clips of it.
Okay.
So I decided to give it a watch. I've only watched one episode, but listen to what happens in that one episode.
Mm-hmm.
It starts off with you hearing some guy talking about, uh, brother, brother, the time of revenge is now, or something like the other like that. And then we cut to some guy driving about a motorcycle on like a dirt plane. Right, he just testing a motorcycle. Some girls taking pictures of him. Then a spaceship crash lands on Earth, and we get a scene of two Power Ranger villain esque characters, a lady and a man. And they're like, "Oh no, that is Garia or something. That's making this noise. We thought that we destroyed them however long, 400 or so years ago, or something like that." Trust me, it's as confusing as I'm explaining it. It's just as that when I'm watching the show. So that crash
This is
lands.
Spider-Man.
This is This is Spider Man. Okay, this is Spider Man. Yes, it is.
Japanese
This
Spider-Man.
is the Japanese Spider-Man show from the 1970s. So the ship crash lands, right? And we get a cut to the Japanese astroarchaeologist. I can't remember his name, but he is the main character's father.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes with a group of people out to figure out what the hell this thing that crash landed, right? He asks his son, who's the main character, to come. He's like, nah, I got to do stuff with my biking and stuff like that, right? But he has been hearing something about brother, come now, and seeing spiders like over the last few days or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? In the air. He's like, he doesn't like pay it some mind. So the father goes with a group of his, I guess, like students or researchers or whatever. His daughter and somebody that's there else with them, and they get attacked by the lady. She summons pretty much like a toy, throws it on the ground, it turns into a little Dino Man, and he fights them, right? So, Sukiya, I think that's his name, or the MC, he realizes that something is wrong, right? He senses, or the brother come, that thing come, that started up again,
Okay.
revenge or whatever, and he's like, hmm. And he goes off the direction that he needs to go, right? So he gets there, his sister and the lady that's working with his dad like, go, they're in danger, we were attacked. And he gets up there, he finds his father down on like a rock, and his father's like, this was we were attacked. And over the years there have been people invading Earth, and they finally started to make their move. And then he promptly dies.
The
Immediately.
father.
Yes, the father promptly dies. So he goes like looking for them in the, and he follows this thing communicating to him in his mind, and he follows it into a cave
Mm-hmm.
where there's this guy called Garia. He's been there for 400 years because the professional machine god dude who's creating these minions on Earth destroyed planet Spider, and he fled to Earth and has been hidden there for 400 years. And he was waiting for the main character to show up.
So he's a human? I
No,
mean, he's
he's
a
an
spider.
alien. No, he's
He's
not
the
a spider.
alien spider.
He's a man. And then he falls on the ground after telling him that he'll save, he'll give Sukuya the power of spiders by injecting him with something because Sukuya got hurt a bit by the monster in the altercation with the dino toy monster.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then Garia falls on the ground, and I thought he died, but then he turns into a spider. A legit
Right.
just turns, he like, disappears, and he turns into a spider, and
Mm-hmm.
just like crawls away.
Why would he crawl away?
He literally just crawls away.
Why?
I don't know.
He doesn't keep his
He
consciousness.
keeps no. He does. He actually.
So why did he leave?
I don't know. The show moves so fast, and each thing's like a jump to a next new clip. So he now has the powers, and he has the bracelet thing that that injected the Spider-Man powers into him,
Mm-hmm.
and he tests them at home. He's crawling out on his roof, and his sister comes in, and they're like, ever since his father died, he's been feeling weird and he's been down. And so he presses the button on the suit. The spider suit comes out. He puts it on, and he starts crawling around his room. And they walk in, and they're like, "Where did he go?" And I was like, "Just look up. He's just right there. He's like hanging up in the corner of the room."
Okay, but you wouldn't usually look in the
I
corner
know.
of the room for
But I mean, the
someone.
room was so small and gimmicky. It's like the moment that you walk in, you would have seen him
I
in the
see.
corner. That type of situation. So he uses his powers to go to what looks like a power plant. No, first we get a whole scene of him testing his powers, climbing everywhere around the place.
Mm-hmm.
And some new archaeologist person got kidnapped. So he goes and he rescues them, and he breaks up in a room, and the lady who had originally set up the plan, the monster that killed his dad, he's like, "Who are you?" Right? And then this is dramatic, like look at him, camera pan, and he just like, "The emissary of hell, Spider-Man."
That's what he
That's
said?
what he says, Kimberly. That's what he says.
That's the translation? Or is
Yes,
that
that
a
is exactly what he says. He's the emissary of hell, Spider-Man. So they always have like minions, type of thing. Because so this she sent us their minions. They fight with him. There's a weird looping scene where they're running forward and then bat flipping and then running forward and bat flipping. It's really weird because I'm like, why are you like this? But they're doing their little acrobatic thing. He kicks their ass.
Okay.
And then she's like, I'm going to bring out the green dinosaur monster guy again. So they're fighting the green dinosaur monster guy. And guess what? They end up in a quarry. Like, you know how all the Power Ranger shows,
Yes.
they end up in a quarry to fight? And I was like, I see where this is going. The giant battle can happen. Immediately, the green guy turns into a giant version of himself. You know how this stuff is.
Why? How?
Because,
What?
yes, because,
Okay.
yes. And then Spider-Man calls out Leopardon, his mecha, which was the spaceship. See? The spaceship that crashed land was a mecha. And he calls Leopardon.
How did he know the name?
We don't even know. He gets in Leopardon and he proceeds to fight the guy.
Actually, how did he get the ship?
Kim, the show is so fast. You do not get an explanation. It is just Garya's like didn't even say anything about the ship. He just uses the thing here for the spider power thing, and he's like Garya. And he's like, no, not Garya. He's like Leopardon, something, so that can't remember exactly words. And Leopardon shows up in the air, turns into its mecha form, and then it one hit KOs the green monster with a sword out of nowhere. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the first battle. And he also has a spider car.
From where?
I don't know. He drives away, and that's how the first episode ends. Him just driving away in the spider car.
There are either lots of things missing,
It
or you're
is
supposed to infer a
yeah.
lot
It's
of
supposed to infer,
things.
but because I saw the whole bunch of clips and people talking about it's really really funny and it's really really fun. People are even talking about how in canon, in Marvel canon, he's like probably one of the strongest Spider-Men to ever exist because he has a
Really?
fucking mech. And I plan to watch the entire thing because I was just like, like the first 10 minutes of the show was just so fast. It was like, here's our main character, here's the villain, here's what happened, here's his dad dead. In the first 10 minutes, we're like, main character, bad guy kills main character dad, giving the main character the reason to become a hero. It was just so quick, and I was just like, wow. And then at the end, he's like the emissary of hell, Spider. It's great. I plan to continue watching the entire thing. It's all on YouTube. But it was one of the weirdest things I've seen, but one of the most Japanese things I've watched in a very long time. It's very entertaining, and I think you should give it a watch too.
Who, me?
Yeah, I think okay. It definitely reminds me of like the whole Power Ranger Sentai thing, and people are saying that this is what pretty much start created the boom of
Okay,
like huge
so
Sentai type stuff.
I was never a fan of
But we
those.
watched a lot of Power
I
Rangers and
know,
stuff
that's what
growing
I'm
up.
saying. I was never a fan of those. I always just watched because there was nothing else on TV.
That's fair.
And it's not like I had control of the remote at the time.
Ah, so okay.
It's one of those situations. So I watched the only Power Rangers I remember actually is the one with the blue dog guy.
SPD,
Okay,
the one
so
in space. Well,
was that in
space. No, it
space?
was a space
No, they
detective
were on.
force. They were
You know
on
what?
Earth, but it was
I
like
can't
in
claim
the
to
future.
remember. I just remember the dog guy.
Yeah, me too. He was kind of cool. He had his own mecha at the end, suit and
I
stuff
don't
too.
remember anything else. I don't even remember the Power Rangers at the time. Do you see how it goes? I know that they worked together.
I mean,
He was like the chief,
yes, he
but I
was the
don't
chief.
remember anything about them.
They were like
Yeah.
a space protective police. They were kind of like a police department version of like Power Rangers. Because there were other groups of ranger type people, but they were like the main ranger group type of thing.
Well, I was never really a fan of that kind of stuff. There's also, what is it, Kamen Rider?
Yeah, I've
I don't
seen many
know.
different clips of Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider definitely seems really cool. I have not watched any of it,
I feel
but
like I'm always seeing something new for some
I'm
reason.
always seeing a bunch of Kamen Rider clips on my recommends
Yeah,
too.
I don't get why.
Me neither, but they always seem to be very enjoyable.
I've never watched. I don't really
I've tried
understand.
watching like years ago, but I never like continued. But Kamen Rider is pretty good too. Never really, but I gotta get into it. I think I'm definitely gonna get into more of this Sentai type stuff.
Are you?
Yeah, it was entertaining. It's entertaining. It takes me back to a point in my childhood when I was very innocent, but at the same time, just like seeing stupid shit on TV.
Why are people obsessed with being innocent?
Well, back then, I knew nothing about the perils of the world, and it elicits a great feeling within you where you didn't have to think about things too hard and
Responsibility. That's what
responsibility.
it is.
That's it. Yeah, it's all about nostalgia and stuff like that.
So
But yeah,
nostalgia
hmm
is about not having responsibility. I understand. I
I wouldn't say
understand.
that, but just being able to
Live freely
transport
without
yourself back to a
worries.
point where you didn't have many worries. Yeah,
Although it's only like that for certain people who
yeah.
didn't have, you know, hard times. Anyway,
But yeah, I watched the first episode. I haven't. I think it has like 42 spread across like 3 seasons.
and you're going to watch all of them?
I'm going to try to watch all of them.
Wow. You are? How long is an episode?
Like 23 minutes, like a normal anime or
You
episode.
watched it on normal speed?
Yes. Well, what I tell you though, but the show is really fast itself. They really wanted to set up everything and really quickly in that one episode because the first 10 minutes were like I was like, okay, it was like you could see the jump cuts, Kimberly. It was like boom, establishing shot of main character, boom, establishing shot of villains, boom, spaceship crash, boom, father dead, boom, just like boom, 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 boom. It was really fast. I was like, wow. They didn't waste time back in the day trying to set up all this nonsense. By the end of the episode, he kind of has his revenge against the thing that killed his dad, but not against the people. So now, gotta continue on. It's
I
great.
see. Well, I hope you have fun.
I hope I have fun as well. What have you been up to, Kib?
I have been up to lots
Mm,
because I'm a person who's always up to lots.
I don't know what that means, but okay. You've been up to lots.
Before that,
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you about this tea for a moment.
Oh, what are you drinking?
We've been drinking jasmine tea a lot recently, right?
Yes, we have.
And this jasmine tea is really good.
Hmm.
I have to say, I've had it with my pizza. You want to know why I had it with my pizza? Because I drink tea with pizza. So I tried it with the pizza because I like to try different teas with my pizza.
Uh-huh.
And this one, though, the jasmine tea is a really good palate cleanser because it's
Okay.
like light and smooth. It like
Mm-hmm.
gets rid of the pizza taste after, because I'll drink it afterwards and it's just like gone. It's really great.
I like how your litmus test for tea is to test it with your pizza.
No, 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 no. Okay, so I won't try all kinds of teas. If it's like a fruity tea, I wouldn't try it
Mm,
because, you know, fruits and fruity teas already have their like strong flavors, not
yes.
necessarily super strong, but they are kind of, trying to tell you, hey, this is lemon, or hey, this is blueberry, whatever. So it
Yeah.
it's is prominent.
Hmm.
And I don't think those would go well with pizza, which also has a lot going on.
Yeah.
So a lighter tea would, and the jasmine is just perfect.
I
Oh my God.
also it was also the jasmine and the oolong tea.
Yes, you really like the oolong for some
I
reason.
I don't know why it was, but the oolong tea really was fantastic to me. They're the same brand, if I remember correctly, or I might be wrong. But both of those were really good. Really, 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 really good. I like the jasmine tea a lot. The oolong tea just, for some reason, hit me in the like a drug. I don't know. It was weird.
Hmm.
It was just like neuron activated type of situation.
Oh, I have something else related to tea.
But
I wasn't even going to bring this up, but now I remembered. Recently I read this manhwa manhwa
mm-hmm.
Korean. What is it? The Duchess's 50 tea
Oh, I
recipes.
know of this. Never read it.
I don't think it's something that I would recommend, but I'm just gonna tell you because it's what I've been up to recently. I did read it recently for the first time, and I don't the story of her being a duchess, she was
Mm-hmm.
transmigrated from modern day South Korea into some,
Fantasy world.
yes,
A
some,
staple.
I want to say it's the past of the world, but I didn't really establish where she was. But there were other, like, she showed a map. There was a map, and it looked like how today was, the world
Mm.
and countries. So I feel like it was the past. Maybe she was in England or America or something, but that part wasn't clear. But the story, her story, the home life and all of that was
Mm-hmm.
actually not very good. I I don't that's not the point though. The point is the tea recipes in for me anyway. I read it
Mm.
because it was about tea and I was like, "Hey, okay, tea, I love tea."
Hell yeah.
Right? And when she introduces different tea recipes to the people because she enjoyed tea in her modern Korean life, and when
Mm-hmm.
she got sent back into whoever she was like, this is the thing that if I can get this I'll be happy. And
Yeah.
she slowly introduced it to her. Well, she didn't have friends. The character. Anyhow, she made friends and got closer to the guy that she was arranged to marry, which was the Duke, and their relationship got better and whatever, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
So the teas and the tea recipes and stuff that she talks about are not bad, but
The
the
actual plot is kind of
there isn't
boring.
any. It's the kind that you've seen before. Anything
Hmm.
where the character has been transmigrated to a time
The whole point
in the
is the tea.
past.
Yo.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know.
And
So
using
there's
tea as a way to carry the plot along.
yes,
Mm.
they made it like that. I did not hate that. Um, but there was really nothing else there.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's it's the Duke or Duchess or the villain villainess or the hero's mom, uncle, aunt, brother, sister, mother that you've seen before. Those
Yes.
kind of stories. It wasn't a new story on that front. The only interesting I have to
It
say
was the
was
tea.
the tea.
I mean, it's right there in the title for a reason.
And apparently, people did not enjoy tea back then because it was from the barbarians or from a barbarian land. That's how
What?
it was portrayed in the thing. I
That
don't
makes no sense.
um
I make tea from anything. Like, straight up. So it's very strange that the
no.
teas,
It was looked upon as
uh,
lesser because it was from
lands where supposed lesser people live.
right
I see.
lands being China. China in it was called On, I think.
Okay.
In any case. They actually had a part where ambassadors from On came to wherever the heck they were because that wasn't really. Oh, it was called the Empire.
Oh
But say the
gosh.
Empire is not a country. You
Kim,
understand what I'm
I
saying?
know what you mean.
That's a region.
Yeah.
It's not a
It's
country.
probably a bunch of countries you don't know. It's the
Exactly. That's
fucking
my point.
empire.
That's my point. I couldn't really grasp where they were trying to base it off of. It could have been England or someplace in Europe. It
Hmm.
could have even been America.
I remember reading something where the two opposing sides were called the Empire and the Kingdom, and I got confused on which
Wow.
side certain characters were on. And it was
If
just so like it was like the Empire is doing as like wait, the Empire is the good guys or the bad guys? Who? And it's like the Kingdom's
yeah.
forces are near where the Empire on the border. I was like, I was just like, right, the main character girl is from the Kingdom, right?
It's
Every time I
very
read that,
annoying
it
when they do
really is
things like
because
that.
they never like gave the name of like either place until like chapters later. I was like, okay, that makes sense, but it's
There
still
is
confusing.
something else that I had issue with. I feel like I didn't really get a good gist some of the time when she was talking about the different teas
Hmm.
because the translation was not the greatest.
Yeah, it happens.
And I know some things about teas. So there was one where she says to a friend of hers that this is like in the beginning when she's introduced black tea.
Uh huh.
And she says one of the friends says that it's really bitter, that she tried it and it wasn't good.
Add sugar.
Well, actually, no, this girl wasn't a friend, more like against her. Anyhow, there were things like that as well. There's always some other
No, it's
girls
got that
against the
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 main
main
girl because
character.
drama.
Right, right.
Yes, and I
She
bet you
liked her
I
husband
was
and it
just
should
about to
have
say
been
that.
her. And
Yes.
there were lots of things. There were
Mm.
even people trying to kill
Over
her
her
and
tea.
things.
God
Anyhow,
damn.
not over her tea,
I
but
know. I know.
whatever. Yeah. So she says that if you make black tea, that if it comes out bitter, that isn't that you didn't do it properly. And I took issue with that because there are some black teas
That are
that are bitter.
extremely bitter. We have some in the
I
house right
mean,
now.
there's green tea is bitter as well.
Very bitter,
So
especially that matcha
when she
powder.
said that, I feel like the translation wasn't accurate because yes, there are some black teas that aren't bitter at all,
Hmm.
but there are some that are.
Extremely so.
I don't think that it is that if
Made
you're
it
making it
wrong.
wrong.
No. So what was her solution to making it taste good? Or didn't she just say that she made it wrong?
That was it. I think she did also say something that is true about black tea, but this was later on and didn't correlate to the previous time. She said that if you steep it for too long,
Ah,
that it
yeah,
gets bitter
gets
over time.
very, very
We
bad.
know that. And I like to do that on purpose. In any case, there were lots of different teas, and I think that if you're interested in teas,
It's a
that
good
is
read.
a good read.
Mm.
And I guess if you're interested in the Duchess Villainess hero's mom, that you can also, you know,
Get into that type of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Why are there so many of those, actually? This
Well,
is a side note.
I mean, well, we kind of had this conversation a long time ago in that the whole Duchess villainess thing, how the same with Isekai and the Duchess villainess thing,
They've
they've
been
been
around.
ongoing in LN and web novel
Right.
format, and it's just that with the boom, there's a boom of them that the Isekai had their boom starting around the mid 2010s and stuff and on to today, and it's still very popular. I read way too many isekais, it's fucking annoying. And the villainous boom kind of started a few years back as well. I kind of prefer the villainous stories
Do you?
currently because I some of them are better than the cookie cutter isekai, and I'll admit it. Even I like some of the romance subplots. Okay, some of them are
They
enjoyable.
aren't bad, it's true.
Some of them are very fun to read. Some of the characters are pretty good and cute together.
However,
Some of them are
a lot
very
of
bad.
them are exactly.
It's
They're
the same with the
bad,
isekai.
and a lot of them are repetitive of just
Yes,
another story, just different characters,
just different
different
character.
names.
Mm.
It's very bad.
It's like every beginning of every isekai that I immediately, if an isekai has an interesting premise, I might give it a look. But the moment I see video game screens and stuff like that, unless it's really funny or making jokes about it, I normally just drop it. Because I'm so tired of video game screens and stats and statistics. Some of my favorite stuff has that, but I'm burnt out on it.
That reminds me, you're speaking of video game streams. This is not an isekai, I don't think, and I
Mm-hmm.
only just started reading it.
What?
It's called The Lone Necromancer.
I've seen that before. Yeah.
Right? I've been seeing that pop up on my webtoon, so
Mm-hmm.
I read it, but I also read it for points because it was a part of one of the things that was going on, so I read some chapters. I've only read like three. No, I had read one
Is
before,
it
but then I read two more,
is
and that has video game streams. I don't think that
with
they're.
like constellations and stuff like that?
What do you mean constellations?
Okay,
They have the
because
whole, you can level up and they see the
mm-hmm,
screens in
mm-hmm.
front of them. I don't think that they think it's in a game, but the guy says that he says
Because
those things that like it is in a game and he knows about gaming.
okay, the Korean stuff right now, their whole thing is a world becoming a game world type of situation, kind of like solo
That's what I
leveling.
think.
The what the omnipresent viewers,
The
the
omniscient
omniscient reader.
reader.
Sorry, I like that one as well. In that Korea, most of the time because they're Korean novels and stuff, is
Right.
that the world becomes a video game type situation,
I
and everybody
think that
has
is what is
yeah.
happening in The Lone
Those
Necromancer.
are the ones where it's not an
It's
isekai,
not
but it's just like something happens, some event happened, and everybody is now forced into this situation.
right.
I like the omniscient reader situation. Apparently, people said the LN was really really good, but I like that one. And I also read the Constellation Who Returned from Hell.
I don't know that.
It's pretty fun. The main character pretty much gets lost in like a dungeon and spends the next 30 years away from Earth.
Oh wait,
But
hold on. I know one like that as
there are
well.
many like these, but he spends 30 years away from Earth, but it's like thousands of years inside of the hells the dungeon or the hellscape or whatever with constellations. It's pretty good. It's entertaining enough that I find it tolerable, even with all the video games, shenanigans, screen type stuff. But yeah, it's pretty good.
This right here.
What?
It's called The Druid of Soul Station.
That's another one. I never read that one.
That one is like he Oh my goodness. So at first I was confused as well, but something happened on Earth
Hmm.
and people get like
Abilities and whatnot,
no,
or
no, no.
what?
They get like not spirited away, but they get
Oh.
ejected to different planes, different places. So
Oh.
he got like sent to some planet wherever. It wasn't Earth though. He was the
Oh.
only human. It had
Oh.
two moons, and he was there. He was counting at first, and many years went by, like 100 years, and he
Yikes.
realized that he was staying the same way. But I think he said that he stopped counting like after 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And there were wolves, and there were what do you call them? There were like monkey gorillas things, and the wolves and the monkey, no, not the wolves and monkey, the gorillas and the wolves would fight against each other.
Oh, okay.
But because he helped a baby cub wolf
Hmm.
one time, he became part of their pack when they protected him a time. So he didn't have to like run away from like the wolves and the gorillas when they were attacking. So he also like not lost his language, but he started to like howl and communicate with the wolves. No, no, no,
He went
it's not
feral.
funny at
He went
all.
feral.
It's not in a funny way at
Oh.
all. It's very serious. And then after such a long period, like he
Mm.
had been there for a
Eons.
millennia,
Uh-huh.
right? Suddenly he just gets I can't even remember what happened. Something like a thing opened up in the sky and he got pulled back in.
Mm.
Like I mean, Christopher, after real years, right? And after being just the only human, then he for the first time he ends up naked on Earth, but Earth seems to have had like a lot of stuff happen to it.
Mm. Mm.
Um you know and they he lands, not lands, project whatever, some warp hole into Earth, into street, and they're wondering who he is and where he came from. But the same thing has happened to many other
So
people
it's
as
a
well.
known phenomenon. Okay.
Right, of people coming back, returners,
Right. Right.
basically,
Right.
that whole thing. And the doctor, this is the part that I kind of understand. The doctor who takes his statement of him telling the story about where he was and how it was, how he was the only person and he pack of wolves and all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
The doctor just basically writes down the thing that he's crazy. Even though they know that people have come back from serious places, they're saying that he's like delusional and whatnot. It's like, no, this actually happened to this guy. Y'all know that stuff is happening on Earth as well that affected whatever. I don't understand how they would say why even. They would say that he's crazy when they know
Mm-hmm.
that people have come back from, random places.
I like the one with the constellation that returned from hell. 30 years has literally passed on Earth, so it's kind of like a semi science fiction type of situation going on. So
Hmm.
things have changed. His friend that he knew, he got older and he has a whole bunch of kids. No, well, he has a daughter that we've met, and apparently he has like relationship problems, but he's a pretty big deal.
Hmm.
So he's like trying to like get him to, because he's become an actual what is called a constellation, pretty much like a god type of person.
A
And he
sage?
no, but he was originally tasked with saving Earth, and when he
A
was going back,
hero?
yes, he was originally grabbed by the constellation, adjusted as something to save Earth or something like that.
Hmm.
But she lost him, and he thought that he was going on training. So he spent a lot of time training in Hell or whatever the constellation zone, getting stronger, thinking that each of these things was a training thing that she had set up for him.
Hmm.
It's only later on he realized that no, that's not the case, and it was kind of like a mistake. And she had sent somebody to find him because she lost him. So he was kind of lost for thousands of years, and that translated to 30 years on Earth. And he comes back, things have changed. People who fight there's no like a sporting event based on like people who have powers. They were considered like
Hmm.
heroes years ago, and apparently the event that he was supposed to stop kinda has been stopped already a few years back. It like other monsters or people were trying to get in on Earth, other constellations.
Mm-hmm.
So he's come back, and his whole thing now is that he needs to build up his fame and become like let people become under him, like his like not minions, but like realize that he's a constellation and work under him to build up power so as
I
to
get it.
protect
I get it.
Earth in
He's
case
like
of
a
stuff.
temple in.
Yes,
He's
it's
the
funny you admit
god
that
of
he
a
just got a temple
temple.
kind of situation.
So
Yeah,
they have to make their wishes and pay and believe in him
pretty much kind of situation. Yeah.
and worship
So
him.
he's going around like becoming more famous,
Mm-hmm.
and the main crux of the thing is that he's a martial artist.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, martial arts has died out as a thing because it came out that the original head martial artist 30 years ago that was like his hero was a fake, and martial arts
Uh,
itself is not as strong as magic. So most people use magic, and even if they do fight, like in like martial arts or whatever, they're magic focused type of situation.
mm-hmm.
So, but he's a pure martial artist, but because he's practiced like literally in hell for like thousands of years, his ability is like he's a constellation himself, so his ability is higher than most people. So this whole thing is just getting fame. But overall, I like it because the characters aren't all. Some of them are silly-ish, but most of the characters aren't like annoying in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of clear cut. Even the annoying bad guy he might have to fight, whatever stuff is very clear cut, and people and stuff that you think would take forever to like get worked out kind of gets worked out pretty quickly, and it's just entertaining overall. I like the main character.
Mm-hmm.
He at first he was kind of like an airheady type of situation, but he's slowly getting smarter and he has a few allies. It's great. It's overall very simple concept, but very good. Well done in my opinion. How did we get talking about this stuff?
We were talking about isekai, then we were talking about
Ah,
video games, then we were talking about returners.
speaking of isekai, I finally got around to watching Sayate no Paladin.
But
Yes,
you read it.
I read it. Yes, but I wanted to watch the anime, and they did a really good job with it. I
I
like
only watched a few episodes. I think I watched
the
three
first three. Well, I watched
episodes.
the entire thing, and they ended where I think they would end because right now where they've ended the show is right before the next major kind of arc. Well, the what I call the governess shit kind of arc in the manga,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe give that a little bit more time. But at the same time, they could just grab the information from the LN since the LN's been out for a while now. But they did a great job. They really captured Will and everybody that raised him and his whole thing. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. And the character and the voices that they got for the characters kind of really fit with what I had in my head too. It's not one of those times where it's like that's the perfect voice for that character. That's the voice I had in my head, and I was
Is
quite
it?
enjoying it. So I'm looking forward. It was perfect adaptation in my opinion. They
That was
really
last season,
it
right?
was.
Speaking of last season, there was World Trigger.
I got around to finishing World Trigger,
Or was
and
that this season?
I don't remember,
That was
but
last season. It ended
this season,
this, yeah, right.
yeah, I finished it. I got around to watching it, and yeah, this I, they did everything that they needed to do this season. They set up Hughes and showed his capabilities. They showed us Osamu's like him slowly building himself up as a leader,
Yeah,
and how Hughes being there also helps him become a better leader because Hughes himself also has a lot of expertise and
right.
experience. So it's helpful for him and his team. You see Chica finally overcoming the barrier of shooting people. That's been
Yes.
pretty much the core to her whole character, like for the whole entire series. And well, Kuga's just there because
Yeah, he
he's
doesn't
already
need
kind of
any
have
like
his
character development.
yeah,
He we already know
you
about
see the
him.
other characters, and it was just great. I just enjoyed it. It
I
was
wish
overall
I
pretty good.
had watched it all together. I mean, I still could,
Yeah.
but watching week after week, I just felt so robbed. When the episode was end, I was like, "Is this
That's why I
it?"
binged, dude. That's why I binged.
Did you see the second last episode?
Okay, yes.
The second last episode is where they put in a lot of their effort for the action
You mean to the
scene.
action? Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I
Did you
saw.
see when I can't remember his name, but you saw when he ran up towards Ninomiya? The movement was just I
Yeah, they
nearly
were like,
like
we gotta put
cried.
all
I was like, this is what you should be doing all the time, Toei. Why aren't you doing this in every episode?
because it's expensive and they're
Christopher, the
cheap.
wind and the way how the what do you call it, the smoke formed, and the way how his jacket was when he was running up. I mean, like the movement, and it was just so
And
crisp
then
and
the
so
the
beautiful.
bullets coming down and shredding him.
Exactly. Oh, I really love this is what I said. This is what I said, right? When Osamu shot Ninomiya.
Uh-huh.
I said they're gonna come around this way. Why does everyone think that Osamu can't use, like
Because
how to do a thing as well? Why
because
are
they
they
know
basing it on what he's done
because
before?
because they know that he has a small amount of Trion.
Trion.
Trion. But that actually is why he is so careful in what he needs to do.
Exactly. He's very
He
detailed.
has to be, because if not, he becomes like the weak point of his entire team.
I don't think he is though. I think Osamu's a great leader.
He's
He's
getting there. He's getting to be.
getting
He's
much
building
better as
slowly,
well.
becoming a great leader and
I
whatnot.
just love how they turned because Ninomi was like,
He wasn't
"Oh,
expecting it.
you can't hit me.
That's
Oh, is
why
that all
it
you got?"
worked.
And whatever. It's like, guy, even I know that they're gonna turn at you. You think you're the only one that can do that? Stupid.
But yeah, to be quite honest, if I was Osamu, my I would try to find a way to use strings to decapitate people in a way, and find a way that using it as an active weapon instead of a defensive weapon.
I think that he should try to use it as something um on him though.
Yes, yes, I agree.
What kind of weapon is that? I don't know. Something that he wields in
Something that he
hand.
can is not doesn't take a lot. It's not a lot of energy from him, but just something to easily like get close. I think he has to play the assassin character for his team. He has to be because you're already playing sneaky, but
Why
he
is
needs
it
to be.
sneaky? He's
He
strategic.
has to, but exactly that's the whole point. Being sneaky does not most of the time means being strategic. He has to make his plan properly. He has to line up with his team in a way, and he has to be disappear and from everyone's view.
There's something that I think would be useful for him as well. Kuga started using it. Who was it that he got it from? The guy in the green, but I can't remember their
There's so
names.
many names.
He does the treon at the end of his foot underneath the ground, and then it
Oh, you
comes out.
mean
Something like
the
that.
scorpion type technique
Yeah, yeah. Wouldn't that be good for Osamu as well? Something like that where, you can't see it, but it's coming
type of situation?
from your blind spot.
Probably, but like stuff that doesn't take a lot of energy and trion. Am I saying it wrong?
They say
Trion.
treon in the
Stuff
show.
that doesn't take a lot of trion, like especially you can set up a lot of wires. But if you can find a way to manipulate the wires, like because they're very small and invincible. But if you can find a way to manipulate them, like in a way to just like wrap around somebody's neck and just instantly like pop, he would pretty much get rid of a lot of people because they're not expecting such a small projectile to instantly yank their neck.
I have another question. Can you store treon?
Probably.
I know that they do it for ships when they go
Mm-hmm,
out
mm-hmm.
and whatnot, and probably other like technical things to keep up. But if they could find a way to like store Treon like in a bag per se, some kind
Well,
of bag, right?
this isn't a spoiler, but in the upcoming arc, there is a training for how to actually do stuff on side the ship. So everybody has to go to training
Hmm.
for the away ship stuff. And you get to see what the inside of one looks and how they actually power stuff.
So that's the
So
next arc.
that's the next art. The
So
next art
that's
is
a spoiler then.
it kind of
Why did you
is
do that?
It's
I really
it's
hate
pretty
you.
much what has been talked
I
about in the
can't
show.
talk to you
The show has
right
already
now.
said that everybody that's going to be able to get up for the away mission, but there's training, and that others who might not actually pass the B ranking will be
Yeah,
allowed
but I
onto the
didn't
training.
know what was coming next.
There's going to be
You're
training.
really
You
annoying.
thought, like,
Such an
Kim,
annoying
the
human being.
whole of World Trigger is about training the next generation of pretty much heroes for Border. And that's pretty much next step is training. I don't know how they're gonna make that super entertaining, and it's they're gonna have to wait about a year or two for the next season, like for real.
That's fine. Oh, we talked about that earlier. I agree.
Yeah, they're good because as somebody who reads, and normally most of the time we get like 2 chapters a month, but we haven't got any chapters for a bit, and I think the author is taking a little bit of a break for their
Hmm.
health, which is fine. Don't overwork yourself, please. But World Trigger comes up monthly, and sometimes you get 1 to 2 chapters, which is already amazing for something that's monthly. Getting 2 chapters per month for a monthly that's that long, but it's gonna take a bit. I
It's
think they
fine.
should definitely,
The people will wait
yeah.
gladly.
I can wait a year or two for a new season,
I hope
especially I'll be
that
reading it.
I hope that Toei changes the music. That's all I
They
can
probably should
say.
do that. They're probably gonna
And I
change it for
hope they
season
don't
four.
have those moments because in this season I didn't really see any actually.
What?
You know those moments that are slow.
Oh no, they didn't. They
Yeah,
didn't
right?
really.
They really cleaned up on
They
that.
cleaned up on that. Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was not bad. The action could have been better, but overall, this was better than the
The
first
last
part.
season and the
Yeah,
first part.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
better overall. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I really when at the end when Osam was like, "We win," I was like, I see the scene in my head from the manga. I was like, "Yeah!" I was like, "Yeah, my boy!" Shred him
Uh-huh.
super hard. Like, yeah, it was great. I loved it. And then Kuga comes and spikes him in the chest for
He
overkill.
did.
I'm pretty happy. I'm looking forward to actually the manga and what's going on in manga. Pretty fun.
I don't read the manga,
You
so we're
should.
just going to cut here. I do
I'm not
have
going to spoil
plans. I
anything.
kind of have plans, but also I don't really have plans to read World Trigger.
That's
It's like
okay.
I like World Trigger. I like watching it.
That's fine. I like both reading and watching it, so
Mm. Anyhow, let me tell you about what's going on this season.
what is
There are
going on this
two
season?
shows. Since we were talking about actiony stuff, there are two actiony shows.
Actiony. Okay.
Actiony. Actiony. There are two actiony shows
Okay.
that are worth it this season
And they
so
are.
far. The first one is Tokyo 24th Ward,
I've heard about that.
and the second one is Sabikui Bisco.
What is that?
So Sabikui Bisco is, wait, I have to tell you what it's about. You know what Tokyo 24th Ward is about?
That's about like some magic type of thing going on.
It's, I don't, I can't even tell you if it's really magic,
But I know
but
like the police wards all in different places have like certain wards who take care of anomalous stuff, things like that. I don't know.
okay, so this takes place in I don't even know how to spin it. Tokyo,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
But it's different because there was like a thing happened and it's not Tokyo but old Tokyo. Oh my God, whatever. In any case, the three main characters, which are called RGB, and I'm gonna continue calling it that because I can't remember what their names
Names.
are. I can't remember. One is Bran.
Oh yeah.
Okay, anyway, RGB was their nickname
Mm-hmm.
from this girl actually that died. She was the sister of one of the guys, a
Okay.
younger sister, and she died in a school building when she was trying to get another kid out because it was on fire. In any case, later on this is years after they go to her memorial and they haven't met because stuff happens and they're adults now.
Mm-hmm.
But they are not really all that close
Yeah,
now.
yeah, stuff like that happens. Tragedy,
Anyway,
one person separates from
yeah.
everybody, and the rest of the group
So
kind of falls apart.
they go to her memorial and they all end up getting a phone call at the
Mm.
same
I've
time,
seen this clip.
right, from the same person. and it sounds like her, and it is her or something, but
Oh,
she's dead, right?
Nani?
Exactly. So then the mysterious phone call shows them an image, and it is of their other friend who they went to school with as well. Her on like the train tracks and a train coming, and they're posed this question: are they going to stop the train and somehow and like make it run off the tracks so that the people will die? Are they gonna save?
The trolley problem.
Right, right. Exactly. So that's exactly what they call it, and that's exactly what it is. I don't know why I
uh,
didn't say that. So they end up saving all the people on the train and the girl and
uh,
her dog, who was different. Anyhow, but it happens again. So they're, I guess throughout the season, they're gonna continue to be posed these kind of
can you do okay? The whole you are driving down a street. You see an old man, a dog, a girl, and a veteran. Your brakes have gone out. Who do you swerve into? Those are actual real thing questions. It sounds like the type of
exactly.
situation.
No, I've actually done surveys like this where they will
Yeah.
ask you, is it better to save more people?
Is it better to save old people or is it better to save the young people? Is it better to save the animals or people
Yeah,
like a
yeah. And
situation?
actually, you have to choose. There's no I'm not sure or I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah, I know.
option.
I've seen
They
these
want
too.
to gauge how the general public feels about things like
Let
this
the old people die, Kim. That's what they want you to
because they're
say.
already old and have lived their lives.
That's not fair,
That's what
though.
they say.
That's not fair,
There
though.
are people who will choose that option
They
though.
will. Some people gauge the whole. They've had enough time to live. They should be able. They should go on. Return to the cycle.
Exactly. But guess what? What if the younger person that you saved is
Commit.
diagnosed with cancer two
Yeah,
months
yeah,
later and
yeah.
they're only going to live for another year?
Yep.
But instead, the old person would have
For
lived
another
probably 10
10.
more years.
Yeah.
Who do you save? Right?
I just when I seen those surveys or those things, I just like wing it because at the end of the day, if the brakes give out, it's anybody's death that's going to happen.
Right. I'm not going to try to swerve into people on purpose.
I'm gonna
If
try to
there's a
save
way,
myself. I try
exactly.
to
But
avoid the least amount of deaths. So normally when I see those, I just choose the option that only has like one person. The thing that has less people, I choose that. That's how I gauge it. It's like there are four people on the left, there's one person on the right. This is that one person's bad day. Because think about it, if I'm in a car and I'm swerving out of control, I'm gonna try to hit nobody. But if I hit four people and I die and those people die, that's bad. But if I swerve and that one person dies and I die, that's only two people that died versus the four.
all right.
I know it's a math question, but that's pretty much how I would do it.
Okay, but you go at it from a math perspective,
Yes,
saving
every
more
life is
lives if you
equal.
can.
I'm just trying to save as many as I possibly can.
Well, I mean,
That's the best
I
way
don't
to
have an
look at it, in my
answer.
opinion.
In any case, the characters they're posed these questions when they get the phone call and then they see the image in their
And they have
head
to
and then they
choose.
try to save as many people as they can.
Mm.
The last time, or should I say the second episode, was it the second episode? Well, the second time that they got a problem like this, it didn't work out so well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
People will die,
People will die.
but
Yes.
one of the things that the guy said is that he said that maybe they shouldn't do it and leave it to someone else to
Mm.
try and save the people. It's like no one else is
Knows.
getting these images though. No one else knows that these tragedies are gonna happen.
Mm-hmm,
So there is nobody else.
mm-hmm,
Do as much as you can is what his friends were saying. We're gonna just do what we can, which goes back to my motto.
mm-hmm. Reminds me of Early
Yes.
Edition, but with a bit more sinister.
Ah, yeah.
The,
But was he saving people
or he was getting the newspaper the
the day
day before,
before?
so he would see whatever like terrible event would happen, and he would try to stop it. Pretty much.
So kind. He's a hero and no one knows it.
And he didn't play the lottery once, I think.
Didn't he not?
I don't remember. It's a
In
long
any
time since I
case.
watched that show.
Yeah. I think I think that one is pretty good. It has the action. It has like the also the I don't know, what do you call it? Like psychological aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it brings morals into question as well.
Okay.
I guess our values. It's good. I like it. And now we're seeing that there is probably a bad guy who is actually doing these things.
Mm.
And one of the guys keeps pushing and saying that maybe the girl is actually still alive. But the way how they showed us her is like more like an not an android, but a program
Mm.
kind of. So someone could be just using
Her
her,
likeness and her voice.
yeah, that sort of stuff. Yeah. And the next one, Sabikui Bisco.
What is this about?
Sabikui Bisco is about mushrooms.
Getting high?
No, but they do get high if we're
What?
talking about growing instantly.
Oh my god. Explain.
Okay, so in Sabikui Bisco, it has been a lot of years. I can't remember exactly how many years, but many years have passed by since there was some kind of tragedy where, the world blew up. Because the
The
world is
world
always
blew up.
blowing up, you know.
The world blew up. I don't know.
And so the people who are living now have never seen what it was like. They were born in this time.
Hmm.
But the issue is that there is this thing called rust sickness. And it gets into your body and you start rusting.
Oh.
Obviously, rusting is not good for humans
Oh, it's really
because,
not.
you will die. So people try to, cover up and whatnot. They say that the cause for the rusting
Mhm.
is mushrooms.
Okay.
However, what we are seeing, because we, introduced the main character, it is that it isn't the mushrooms exactly. Not all mushrooms are good, but the main character is a mushroom. What is it? Not healer. I can't remember what he is. A mushroom something. Goodness, what are they called?
Herbalist?
No, 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 no,
Scientist?
no, 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 no.
Oncologist? I don't know.
No, no, no. So his name is Bisco, and he goes around with his master,
Mm-hmm.
and they like grow mushrooms in different places. They do it really awesomely because they have like bow and arrow and they shoot mushrooms and they sprout up instantly, or sometimes they don't shoot up and then they're like time delayed and then poof, and then they're like really huge or really small. In any case, the mushrooms don't they don't cause the rusting.
Mm-hmm.
There is a mushroom that he is particularly looking for. It grows where one of their kind, which I cannot remember what they're called, for God's sakes, right? A mushroom thinger. Where they die, the mushroom will grow, and they use that mushroom to then grow in different regions, and the mushroom will soak up the pores, I mean the spores, the rusting,
Ah,
right? So
okay.
people had equated mushrooms to the rust sickness because where mushrooms grow, it were dense. It was in dense areas because they were soaking up all of the rusting,
Ah,
right? Where a
okay.
lot of mushrooms
So
are.
it's a
And it is
misunderstanding.
it's
Mm.
over time
That
that
people
they get
forgot.
rid of the rusting. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
happen instantaneously. So people thought in places where there are lots of mushrooms, that means
That they're the cause of the
right.
rust.
So that's that whole thing we got to see. And so now him and the other main character, I say him, Bisco, and the other main character, which is a doctor who had also been he had been like trying to do like different medicines with different mushrooms because he was also thinking along these lines that maybe a mushroom actually has the cure,
Hmm.
right? So he had been trying to procure different mushrooms illegally because mushrooms are illegal, and try to synthesize and do like different medications and whatnot to see what works and what is what. In
Hmm.
any case, he and Bisco came into contact. So now he is going to go on a journey with Bisco and they're going to try to get the mushrooms and save the world.
Oh, okay, this sounds actually
Basically.
pretty good.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
very.
mushrooms. Anyhow, I think those two will be really good.
Okay, it sounds
Um,
very entertaining.
I dropped one already and we only just started.
Oh.
I dropped Orient.
Uh,
And that's all I have to say, actually.
I used to read Orient
You did?
because
Why?
the author did Magi, sorry, however you want to call it.
Really? I can
Yes,
actually see
it's the
that
same
with the
artist, same author
hair.
artist situation. But when I at the beginning, I think I got like a 30-ish or so more chapters into Orient, but I just got really bored. It
I got bored from the first two
it was just
episodes.
not like for me it was just not entertaining enough, and I know it's gone on for a longer period of time, so there's definitely some audience there that's enjoying it, and I know that some people said it gets better, and
When does that happen?
it definitely probably further down the road
Can I tell
because
you, the last episode I watched, I had to watch it on like double speed. I was just not
some
happening.
people have told me that they really kind of shot the whoever is doing the anime for it kind of shot on it because there's like no animation apparently or something like that. It's
What do you
just
mean
like
there's
real.
no?
It's not
Is
good.
it bad?
It's like the art style has not translated well, and it just kind of still.
It's okay.
Hmm.
It's not the worst thing to look at.
Okay.
Um, It for me it felt like I was watching a kid series,
Yes, it
but
starts
you
off like
know
that.
how
Definitely.
there's nothing happening, not in kid series, sometimes you could just put them in front of a bunch of colors, little children, and they think something is exciting going on, so you don't have to do
Even kids
much.
aren't that silly.
Well, I mean they can be easily pleased at
Yes.
a certain
But
age.
yeah, I remember just being really bored of Orient. Like at the beginning, it was very, very generic. It was, I guess, pretty, but I was just so bored. That's all. I'm just gonna be honest. It's just like it was
I
boring.
was also bored, and I think I dropped it after the third episode because they were fighting the creature from the first episode to the third episode. Why were they doing that? Why was it so slow?
I don't know, dude. I
Why was
can't tell you.
everything happen slowly?
Well,
And
I'm just a
his
manga reader.
I thought that the the boy digging and everything would look better, but when I watched him doing his move, I was just like, is that how it works? I am not impressed.
I really don't remember too much. I
I'm
just
not
remember
excited.
that there's something to do with like samurai-ish type of
Right, right. So
situation.
it is that the Oni came
Uh
and they
huh.
decided to rule over the world.
Yes.
But the Bushi, which are, it's not Bushi, it's Bush. I don't know why they pronounce the E, Bush, right? Which
Hmm.
are the samurai. They're the ones who were trying to fight against the Oni in the beginning. But then, because the Oni were able to overcome and whatnot over years, they spread the message that the Bush are the bad ones,
Or something like that.
basically. And they even had to wear if you were from a bush family,
Right,
you had
right.
to wear like your what do you call it? You had to
Sword.
wear your sword at all time, your katana, but
And it
you had to
was
wear like a
chained to you.
chain
Yeah, I
around
remember that at the
you and
beginning.
whatever. So yeah, there was a scene that I did not understand though. They showed the boy, the other main character is a bush, he's from a bush family, and they showed him at home with his dad. But why was he wearing the chains at home? I thought no one else was there, right? You only have to wear it like in public, right? It's not at all times.
Maybe
So
he
I'm sure
didn't
he doesn't
change
wear it
out of his
at
chain
sleep,
outfit.
right? I don't get it.
I don't know, man. I just remember reading Orient, getting a certain way, and just being like, when is this going to be fun or interesting?
Yeah.
And
Did
I
you
just
see
dropped
their
it.
their vehicle as well? It
Dude, I
has a
remember
lot
it's
of
it
it's a
looks like a toy,
motorcycle.
if I remember
Yeah, it's
correctly.
a motorcycle, but it has like these crystals like shooting out the back and the sides. They're really long, and I just thought that is so hideous. Not to mention dangerous.
I don't, man. I just remember reading it for a bit and being like disappointed because I was kind of, I enjoyed Magi for a bit, for most of it, and then
Hmm.
towards the end, it kind of fizzled out in my interest, but I completed it because it went all fucking fifth dimension space bullshit on everybody. But you wouldn't understand. But one person who understands what I'm talking about knows what I'm talking about because there's like gets weird at the
Okay,
end. It gets really
okay.
weird at the end, and I was like, I'll read Orient. I like the first thing they did, and it was just eh. It was eh.
Yeah,
It
I
was really
felt the
just
same
eh.
way. I dropped it in a heartbeat. I thought after episode one, I'd be like, okay, it'll get better. I give things episodes. I try with things, one, two, three,
Mm.
and I was just, well, I tried.
I tried.
That's how I felt
Well,
after.
speaking of things that ended or didn't live up to hype, um, you remember Beastars, right?
Yeah.
It ended. It didn't end great to a lot of people's opinions. The author, she kind of introduced way too many weird elements, and the entire Melon arc with that villain type of guy shouldn't have happened. So the
Melon arc. Whoa.
yeah, the character's name is Melon, and
Oh,
he's a
his
villain.
name is
Yes, he's a
Melon.
villain, but it completely goes nowhere, and it just and the towards the ending, she too much stuff was being introduced too fast and
Mm-hmm.
not being developed upon,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of just fizzled out at the end. Still good story, but definitely the beginning to middle part is where the stronger stuff happens. She has a new manga. It's been out for a bit. It's called Sanda, and I quite enjoy it.
What is it about?
Okay, it seems that this is kind of like in like the future or not future, but it deals in Japan and the birth rate is really really bad. So children are super important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Santa Claus is a kid, but it's like genes inside of him. Like he turns into Santa Claus.
Oh, okay.
And apparently Santa Claus is super important, or there are people hunting down Santa Claus, apparently. And one girl figures out that her friend named Sanda is Santa. So the whole thing starts with her trying to get him to realize that he's Santa somehow,
Mm-hmm.
and just a whole bunch of stuff happens, but she's trying to save or find her friend who died. Her friend, no, find her friend. And people are saying that she died, but
Mm-hmm.
she believes that she's alive.
Okay.
So, but the whole thing is going through with how he is Santa, he turns into an adult, and a whole bunch of things, and the principal finding out, and there's actually a anti-Santa coalition hunting down Santa for
Wow.
something for years ago, apparently. But Santa is like pretty much the hero of kids, that type of situation.
Okay.
But he turns into this big naked old man. And then I found out that the author herself has what is known as a Santa fetish because she has
Wow.
other like one shots where she writes about loving Santa and really liking Santa, and at the end she has a Santa fetish. So this is just her being able to go wild with an
I
idea about
see.
Santa, and but it's really good.
Okay.
I quite like what I've seen so far, and it's the first time I've seen her drawn like human characters. I haven't like read any of her like older like or one shot stuff where she did like human
Mm-hmm.
characters, but this is just human characters. But there's a whole underlying feeling that like it's really really bad, that the birth rate is really bad, and kids apparently are super super important, and they're held in like really huge like respect type of thing or
Mm-hmm.
protected because the school they live at kind of at school, and they've always being overlooked and being taken care of and making sure that they have everything that for them, so that because the
A
kids are
boarding school.
literally the future for the world, but there's still not a lot that we know. It only has 11 or so chapters, so we slowly get picking up different new information. But so far, I like it. It's entertaining and kind of silly, but at the same time, that's what manga really is about. It's just I want to read more. I want to read more. I think that's the thing with her. She has this, the author. She has like all these premises and stuff that just pull me in all the time. So I'm hoping that she's kind of like learned from like Beastars, because of course she probably has, and how the ending and just like does a better job. And so far to me, it
Hmm.
seems far better.
It sounds
It
really good to
seems
me.
far better,
I
and
didn't
I'm
like
interested.
Beastars. I didn't like. I watched the first season and I didn't like it.
Mm.
I expressed that to you greatly before. But this Sanda thing sounds
It does
hilarious.
sound it's just pretty hilarious too. By the same time, it's just entertaining. I'm really looking forward to see where it goes.
Speaking
Sanda.
of fetishes, I
Okay.
just want to say that there's this author who I was looking at. Is it a her? I don't really know who it is. I haven't looked into the person who writes the stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that the author has a fetish as well for an age gap, like relationship. The female characters are usually in school,
Uh
while
huh.
the male character is like older adult person, right? And I was
Uh.
going through I only have read like two things from the author, and I was looking at the rest and I was like, oh, I see. I see. It was today actually I said to myself, this person got an age gap fetish. Yeah. And I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I guess there's a fetish for everything.
Uh
And
huh.
maybe the person doesn't really have a fetish, but if all of your works are age gap, then something there.
That's also like the guy who did the he has two series, but the whole crux of them is that the main character drinks breast milk to get superpowers.
Oh, you
And,
told me
and
about that
both of the
years ago.
series are
Is
the
that
same
the
thing.
butler thing or
What?
the maid
I can't
thing?
remember the name. It's right. I
It's
can.
a harem.
I think they're both harems,
They
and
wear maid outfits, the
I don't
ladies.
know. I never
I don't
watched it. I
remember
never
either.
watched it, but I just know that the whole thing is that drink breast milk gives superpowers. That's all I know. Apparently, it's actually really good. The current manga that he has going. I don't know about the first one. I don't think they're tied together.
I
It's
have
just that
something to say.
they have
The
the same
women have
thing.
to have all been lactating,
Yes,
which
or
means they either have a condition or they've all had children.
I doubt. I 100% doubt that anybody in this thing is pregnant or being pregnant for drinking breast milk.
So then they
Magic.
have
I'm gonna assume.
so then they have an a medical condition then.
I guess. I don't know, Kim. I never read the stories, but I assume some magical nonsense because something Soma. That was what it was called, or Soma or something. I can't remember.
You're
It's like
not talking about the boy who cooks.
no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the breast milk thing. But yeah, apparently I think Soma was the first one. I can't remember the current one that's. But the whole thing is about drinking breast milk and it gives you superpowers. That is when you know you have a niche, and both your first manga and your second one are literally about the same thing. And you're like, I like this thing, and I'm gonna continue to make stuff about it. Publish it.
Wow. I mean, I don't have a problem with people writing about different fetishes, but all the time, it's like maybe you can make fetishes what you write about and write about different ones because there's so
No,
many.
they like the breast milk and they're going to use it to superpower up their main character. And apparently it's actually not bad. So I mean, hey, some of the more risque things I've read recently have been the most actually the authors have a brain and their stories are yes lewd but good. It's like you ever read something that's probably a little too erotic for its own good, but at the same time the core story is actually good or better than something that you've actually like that's considered mainstream or just like normal or whatever. It's like really, really good. It's like, why are you writing smut, right? You know, but at the same time, people like what they like. And they're going to write what
Well,
they
I
want to
think
write.
sometimes that's also a way to break into,
True.
getting started because sometimes people don't want a good story. They already have people writing a bunch of stories out there. What really makes
Hmm.
yours any better than the
So
ones out there?
make it lewd and make it
Exactly.
fun at the same time. At the same time, make it really good. Like Fate Stay Night started off as a eroge, but now it's a super big franchise that has millions and millions of fans and many different VNs and a whole bunch of different timelines of story. Hell, I play Fate Grand Order because I'm a Fate fan because I originally like read the not well I originally read the VN, but it was terribly translated, and I remember reading off like manuscripts translated by somebody to explain the plot. And then you remember we watched it, like
We
we watched Fate,
tried to
tried to
watch
watch
it.
it, but I did not completely finish it until like
Neither did
years
I.
later.
I never
But yeah,
completed the first season. I have watched Apocrypha a
hmm
couple seasons
that's the
ago.
one with Sieg. Everybody calls him
Yes.
Cardboard,
What is he? Yes.
Homunculus,
Cardboard. Cardboard.
Cardboard,
What
because
was
he's
that?
kind of there. He should have been the main character. That's what people
The
say.
main character was definitely not him.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Anyway,
He's good in FGO. Good 4-star welfare servant.
he does things
Yes, he does things. He's really good in FGO.
only after he got the sword, right?
Yeah.
That's why he's
And they
a
did a little story
thing.
art with like the Apocrypha servants in FGO as
Right.
well, and it's actually pretty good. He's a better character because of FGO and in FGO for a lot of people. So, and he's actually a really good servant. Even
I
though
see.
some people are like, I'm gonna delete Sieg because he and Jean got together
Did
as
they?
or something like
Did
that.
they? Is that canon?
I mean, it's like most of the stuff. Real how servants work is that they're most of the time different incarnations of themselves, and the information goes back to the Throne of Heroes about them, but it doesn't mean that that's them. And plus,
Right.
Jean, if I remember correctly, in Apocrypha is some inside somebody, or somebody is like it's weird,
She's the I think she's like the a reincarnation or she has
something
her
like that.
memories. But yeah.
Yeah, it's weird like that, and he's kind of like a few days old,
Yeah, he's
so
a baby.
pretty much. But that's
That's why
Fate.
he's
It's not the
cardboard.
first time with like homunculuses and that stuff like that in Fate. So, but yeah, that's a series that started off as an eroge. Like, and look at it now; it's considered super popular. I like FGO. I like some of the movies. There's a whole bunch of movies for the finishing off the Fate Stay Night series and stuff.
There's
And
a lot of fate stuff.
exactly,
Um,
and that's what I mean. Something that starts out a certain way does not mean that the people writing it or like or not shouldn't be considered like actually pretty good at what they're doing. So
right.
whenever I read like see people talk about oh this is just a lewd series or whatever, I always give it a chance because you never know what you might get. You might get some amazing world building, some amazing characters, and you'd be like, yeah, I came here to wank, but I'm here for the plot now.
The
Type of
actual
situation.
plot.
Yeah, there's so many dojins and stuff like that that have way better stories and characters than so many things that are out today. But yeah, I think that's all we have for today. Yeah, a
Yeah,
good
we've been
little
talking for a
roundup.
really long time. I mean, we could keep talking, but then
I
it would never stop.
no, but they would never stop. So I think we should say goodbye to our viewers.
We have to say goodnight in fate fashion,
Uh,
which is please remember everyone that people die when they are killed.
of course, that's the one thing you know from Fate.
Of course it is.
I hope you guys enjoyed and have a good one.